On today's episode of Let's Be Real, we're going to talk about possibilities. And I'm calling it possibilities work. And I mean that like they work and also like the work. And this would be appropriate for you if you feel like there's no way out and or you're stuck in the maze of your mind and you're spinning. So good morning, everybody. So our thinking is so crazy. Thinking is so crazy. And I say this in probably every broadcast, but you are very rarely doing what you think you're doing when you're thinking. And there are factors, features. Good morning, everybody. Hi. Underneath the thinking that I'm talking about that inform how and why you would think. And the number one is who do you think you are? And who do you think you are has layers to it as well. And it's taken me, several years to sit up here to be able to say like the who we're really looking for is the divine. Yes, there are layers of identity such as like I'm a mom, I'm fast, I'm good at this, I'm not good at that, I'm from here. Like those are parts of how you identify, which then again informs or guides how you think. If you think you're someone who's confident, the type of thinking, what you think about, what you focus on is different than if you think that you're somebody who's not confident. And what's tricky and trippy about identification is a lot of it happens subconsciously, so you may or may not know that you identify as somebody who isn't worthy of love. You may or may not know you're somebody who identifies as that your emotions don't matter. And those all kind of, like I said, guide your thinking. And your thinking determines what you see, what you experience, then what you do, and then what you have are, etc. So I do have a graphic on that on the website, and it's basically like identities, beliefs, thinking, emotions, behavior, results in summary. And so if you guys are just joining, what I'm talking about today is possibilities work. And I'm saying possibilities work, like they work. And they work to alleviate stress, to go new places, to do different things. And I'm also calling it possibilities work, like the work to do to open possibilities. And right now I'm talking about the way that how and why that matters if you're in a state like this where you're like, what am I gonna do? I can't do anything. And sometimes this state has occurred for so long that you either like lay flat into depression, you're just stuck. But you don't, again, like the thinking, and I said this is what I was running into when people were joining. You very, 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 very rarely know what's happening in here because it's either A, always happened, or B, it happened so subtly and so in so many different layers, it's difficult to see what you're actually doing and why you actually doing it. Good morning, everybody. So, the thinking, the possibilities help you with this state, the like, where will I go from here state, which again, may not be a question that you're consciously entertaining, but one instead that has created so much weight or so much obstacle that you're sort of like stuck and you go flat, and or you go crazy and you like, and by go crazy, I mean you are so frantic in your thinking and your action that you're not really still enough to do anything of value. And I started to talk about how thinking is so much, it is so many layers downstream from what actually makes a difference. And what actually makes a difference is who do you think you are? And I talked about how there are layers to that. And the layers are sometimes conscious, but mostly unconscious. And sometimes the conscious idea, the conscious who do you think you are, might be different than what is held unconsciously. And who you think you are determines how and why and what you think about. And then I said that this is after several years of personal development and work, I can sit up here and finally say, like, who we want to align you with is your divine heritage, who you are as an expression and child of God. That is the ultimate identity. I am consciousness. I am. And if you can come to that place, then the way and what you think about changes quite a bit. If you believe that you are a child of God, if you believe that you are part of a universal dance, a cosmic orchestra that is playing for ultimately everyone's well-being, who, what, why you think about things is different. So today in possibilities work, again, we're saying possibilities work. They work. And we're also saying, like, this is the work to do to open possibilities. And you want to do that when you have thought yourself into the spins or into a place of non-movement because you can't see a way around circumstances internally, your inner experience. Maybe it's your anxiety level, maybe it's how you think about yourself, or maybe it's external circumstances at a financial level, at a relational level. Like, what you are in need of is new possibilities, because possibilities work and starting to move what's stuck. And this is very exciting. This is what came to me when I was prepping today. Knock, knock, loose. So usually our heads, and anything you think about without using your imagination is generally only what you can think about. So we get really caught up in our struggles because we don't see another way around. If you saw another way around, it wouldn't be a problem. You know what I'm saying? And that's why the possibilities work is important, because it can open doors for you to start to allow that things can change rather than just keep knocking on doors that are locked or closed. An example of this is, so I do this work, and what is this work? Well, this work is I am as present to my personal experience as possible, and I allow me to describe what I'm experiencing with the intention to support others in their own explorations and experiences of self. Like, that's my work, is as best as I can gather to allow me to be me, and in so doing inspire and support others in being themselves. That's my work. And the work has been interesting because I have become aware over the years that there is a component of it that's not me. Shaylee cannot claim. Shaylee does things. But Shaylee also, and I'm talking about myself in the third person, like the personality of Shaylee, like who I am as an individual existing since 1986 on the good ship Earth. There are things that she's experienced, that I've experienced, that I can do, that I can reference, that I can get. And then I have an experience of things that I couldn't have possibly gleaned from my time just here on Earth as Shaylee. And when I'm working with clients, a lot of what I'm facilitating is not mine. I can tell because it doesn't feel like mine. They aren't ideas I could have because I haven't had them before. And it's been challenging for me to really own what I'm doing in a way that I can, I don't want to say profit from it, but like make it very, make it flourish, because part of me is like, well, that's not really mine. How can I do that? That's not me. Like if I write something and I feel that it's divine or channeled, like, do I put my name on it? And so the possibilities, I was knocking, it's like, how the fucks do do I not exist at all? Is none of this Shaylee? You know, I'm knocking, could go nowhere. I was spinning. And then I've been studying Jane Roberts' work. in the intro of one of her books, she describes why she puts her name on things, like why it's her work. So she channels an entity named Seth, and it's Seth's book. She basically just opens her mouth and in a trance, and his words are taken verbatim and typed into a book. Like, there is no work on her end except that she is the vessel for it. And yet the books are by Jane Roberts. And so when she explained that, it opened the possibility door for me. It's like, oh wow, I see now that that's possible. And the problem that I had, I no longer have, because the door, knock knock, came loose. And so when you're doing, like, what is the possibilities work? The possibility work is to get you out of this state and to allow things to unfold for you. Here, you're thinking, how do I figure this out? What do I need to do? Well, honey, there's more than just you. It's not just on you. And that's another thing I feel a lot more comfortable saying now. If you ask for divine assistance, oh baby, she's there. Will it come in the form that you think or that you're asking for directly? Probably not, especially if you're just starting that practice, because you likely need other things to ultimately hold or do what you're asking for at the onset. For example, if you are asking for a relationship or money, you might receive assistance in seeing where you're not open to love, or you might receive assistance in seeing where you could have a different relationship with money. Those are valid steps towards the end state, and yet our minds will get all caught up and well, I'm not getting it. It's not here. It's not that. No, you're getting the process. And that's one of my favorite Abraham Hicks quotes, which is if you ask and you're not ready, what you'll get is the process to become ready. Something like that. So I feel very, whatever. I really am hopeful and insistent that everyone becomes their own authority. I am nobody's authority except my own. And when I'm presenting, what I'm hoping to do is put things on your table for you to kick around, see what you like, what sparkles, try it on, run it through your own lab. I am not your expert. I am only presenting possibilities for you to consider that might work for you, and or if nothing else, demonstrating the possibility that one can have their own possibilities. I can have this experience, which may or may not be happening anywhere else. And that's individuality, and that is another one of my favorite topics. So anyhow, the possibilities work. So what I talked about in the Jane Roberts example is show me then. So here are 3 ways to work possibilities, do the work. Maybe use your imagination. If you know that it's not happening with the ways that you currently can think of, maybe, and you do kind of playful thinking, well, let's say you are looking for a job or an opportunity and you've tried everything. Maybe you could get a random call from an old friend who just happened to open a business, who just happened to need someone with your skill set. Maybe, allow yourself to step out of what you're so sure are the only options, and maybe this could be. The second one is the calling in divine assistance. Show me then. I give up. If you show me another possibility, I am open to believing that I'm not stuck in this maze, that these 2 locked doors are the only ones that are. To do that, if you're new to that, it's as simple as kind of relaxing into your body and imagining, you can do whatever format you want, but the way that I like to do it is imagine it's a letter, or I give a shape to it, and then I put the shape on an imaginary altar. So it's here's a topic I don't know what the fuck's to do with. So here you go, God. Here you go, divine assistance. And I imagine putting the shape, the person, the object on the altar, and then as best I can, I don't touch it mentally. I try to stay up off it until I receive the next step. Because like I was saying earlier, sometimes when we're asking for things and it doesn't go the whole way to completion, we're oh, I'm unsupported, I can't do anything. No, honey, it comes in waves. Work the wave that's there. And then the last step is The truth is that there are no limits, man. Like the way that you can think of things is so limited. The truth is, like, you do not know what can be. The truth is, you do not know what never was. Like, the truth is, anything can be. And I put that one last because for some reason it's hardest for us to allow that, because I think that it requires a true surrendering of the control illusion. Like, you really don't know. And when you step into you really don't know, then you can't play the game where you pretend like you do. So it does take a little work to get to the place where you can do that. But you could start there. There's no reason to go to the other ones. The truth is the same in all of those. You do not know what can be. And your fixation on what can't be is what's holding you in a stuck place. And or sometimes the stuck place is actually not stuck at all. Perhaps it's giving you information about yourself. Maybe it's giving you information about life. Maybe it's developing certain qualities. Again, we get so fixated on the end state that we miss the gifts that are present that are actually super fucking aligned with what we want. But because we're not open to receive, we're not open to the correctness, and we're in resistance, we don't have the experience that it's correct. And because we don't have that experience, it doesn't flow like it's correct. And as a result, we think it's not. And we start to, again, spin. So I'm going to wrap up. If you have any questions, now would be the time to shout. So today I talked about possibilities work. And I'm saying, like, possibilities work. They work in alleviating this state of stuckness. And I also talked about possibilities work. Like, this is the work to do. And the work to do is to, here are three ways to do the work. This list is not complete. There are always more possibilities. The truth is, this is my argument against science. I love science. I do. I think it's super useful and helpful. But the truth is, like, it's not all that is. It's just all that's known now. And things can always exist beyond what is known now. So the work to open possibilities, to allow yourself to feel more energized, alive, and in flow, is to maybe consider that something that you think couldn't be could be. Maybe I could find an apartment that I really like. Maybe they'll miraculously heal. Like, maybe allow yourself to look for doors that might be a little loose. Knock, knock, loose. Woo! Movement. The next one is to ask for divine assistance. Show me then. If you're not able to find a possibility, if you can't generate, maybe ask for divine assistance. What is divine assistance? I mean, I could try to say it. I don't really know. I feel like if I'm allowing myself to claim that I know, I think that there is a multidimensionality to this experience, and in this very room there are beings that are existing in another dimension or frequency that I can't currently perceive, that have a higher vantage point. It can move things non-physically. Angels, God, like, I'm not really sure. I think that from what I could tell, each of us have a unique experience of what is constant, and what is constant is energy, I guess. Layers, complexities, networks of energy. That's my best what I can claim right now. And then the last work to do for possibilities, the truth is, which is to claim, like, man, you really do not know. You cannot know what wasn't, what is, you do not know. And so if you want to get yourself all swept up in what can't be and do the spins about a situation you can't see your way around, you can. But the truth is, you do not know that you do not know an exhaustive list of possibilities. And again, let's say you're in a state of stuckness. If you cannot make the stuckness move, embrace it. Go the whole way in on stuck. What's here from you? What is here? What do I get to learn, feel, experience? When you say yes, you green check, which is a power move I talk about all the time. Green check, this is okay. It's not okay, but it's okay that it's not okay. If you can green check it, you can start to interact with the information that's available in your environment a little bit differently, your inner environment and your external environment. You are in constant communication with the universe as yourself, with yourself. What do I believe to be true? What do I expect? It is reflected back to you at all times and always in all places. Again, there are layers to this, there are complexity, but at a functional, practical level, it is helpful that if you cannot knock, loose the door, then allow yourself to embrace the state experience that you're in as if it was correct. And seemingly that does some stuff. And then I also touched on like, who is thinking? You know, when you allow yourself to be an expression of divine, you think differently because you're not approaching the problem from a place of being alone or separate from life. If you are allowing yourself your divine heritage, what you think about is different. So who you think you are, I am consciousness, I am love, I am light, I am a child of God, I am God, whatever it is, that informs what you think about, how you think about it, and why you think about it, which changes everything. And again, it's tough. You got layers there, layers of who you think you are, layers of who you think you are, layers of, you know, they're all there. But the point I've been talking about in this series is really like here, though, right now, here. This is your point of power. All of this can be, all of these layers, all of the complexities can be, and yet in this moment, right here is where you are. And from here, you don't need to have all of this with you. You can be present here without it if you are here. All right, that concludes my presentation for today. If you'd like to see the rest of this series, it is on youtube.com/The Shaylee Show. I also have another series I'm doing concurrently called We're All Here Together, and in that one, I'm just coming in with blank paper and chatting about whatever comes to me. I love feedback. It is so friggin' helpful for me to know if stuff is helpful to you. Oh my God. Thank you when people message me that, like, thank you. So I don't think I'm just up here like, you know, like it helps me know, like, it helps me know. So thank you. Living in the present can be tough sometimes. Yes, living in the present can be very interesting sometimes. And you know, there are varying degrees of pain and discomfort that can make that true. And I think what I'm looking at in this series is really like, what pain and discomfort don't you need? What pain and discomfort is a factor or function of what you're thinking, thoughts you don't need to have, so that you can be with what's actually present rather than what you think is present, or your distortions of what was, or your distortions of what will be. Like, being in the present can be simplified, and yes, it can certainly be uncomfortable. On my journey to being here, right here, there was a lot of things I didn't want to feel that were right here, and a lot of things I didn't want to see that were right here. And yet, ultimately, through the interaction with those feelings, with that information, it wasn't as bad as I thought. But two, on the other side of it, man, things are so much easier and nicer. So yes, it can definitely be uncomfortable in the present, and I think there are, again, there are real reasons for that. Real meaning, you know, like experiences that hurt, experiences that are hard, and then there are the ways that we interpret those hard experiences that can make them easier or that can make them harder. Making your thoughts more efficient to stay present. Yes. One of the meta level moves is like, I think I was saying it earlier, it's like you can make it okay that it's not okay. And when you are with something you don't want, don't like, etc., and you think about it from a vantage point of this isn't right, rather than allow that it is. I always use the example of crayons spilled on the floor. Like, if your markers are spread out and spilled on the floor, that's wrong, right? They shouldn't be there. They should be in the jar. if am here and I make myself all upset thinking that this couldn't or shouldn't be, then I don't generally allow myself access to the energy to actually clean the markers up and or to appreciate and see what's there, because I'm so fixated on this shouldn't be. So saying it's okay that it's not okay says like the marker, I prefer the markers in the cup. I see that they're not right now. Okay. It's going to be a pain in the ass to clean them up. Okay. You don't need to then take it on as a story of like, well, their markers aren't on the floor, or, you know, their wife didn't leave them, or this didn't happen. Like, you can simplify it to what it is as much as you want and allow yourself to work with the reality that is like present. And again, yeah, just simplify it. You explain the possibility of possibilities and the alternate available perspectives amazingly well. You make it very easy to understand what you discuss and explain. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I guess at a last bit when I'm packing up. So at a meta level, and I'm so fucking pumped. Man, am I pumped to be able to sit up here and say like, really what's operating behind the scenes for me, because man, for a minute it really scared me to be like, I don't know, I just opened my mouth and God talks, you know, like that didn't seem acceptable for what I believe to be, you know, received. But that's really what happened. So I appreciate that. I just do my best to try to be still enough to hear or feel what's to be said. And I can tell when Shaylee gets involved, because like the personality she doesn't really as much anymore. We did a lot of work. But she wanted things like to be funny and cute and accepted and all this shit. You know, it's so much easier not to carry that around than just to like open my mouth. All right, thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Again, these are on youtube.com/The Shaylee Show. Please subscribe and share and comment and help a girl out.